Welcome back, everyone. This is Titus Valspar again. I'm here just to continue with this champion tutorial. Last week we had a Venom video, and this week we are going to move kind of on down the line. The next 4-star duplicated champion that I do have that I wanted to talk to and look at today is Groot. So let's go ahead and take a look at his stats here. So Groot, as you can see, is my profile champion, as you'll see up there. I don't know why that's a very long line, but it was. So Groot is my profile champion, meaning that of all the champions that I do have, he is the very strongest. You'll see that I do have him at a rank 4 and a level 40 in the 4-star tier, and it took a lot of time getting used to playing with him. He has a very different fighting style. His moveset's kind of quirky. But even at that, he's a very fun character to use. So let's just kind of take a look at his different abilities that we have here. So when you have him duplicated, as I do, he gets an ability that's called a Gentle Giant. So he's, for anyone really familiar with Groot, either from the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, or his mannerisms in the comics, or in animated series, or however you may watch it, he's a very pacifistic character. That being said, he has the ability to gain, I guess, just different what they refer to as pacifism charges in game. So this is set off by either, and we'll see it a little bit further down here. We'll see that it's set off, or he gains one of these pacifism charges every time he receives a critical hit, or every time the opponent uses a special attack. And you'll see the pacifism charge. It appears underneath his health bar. It's a little face. It's a little Groot face. So when this gentle nature, or his gentle giant, I guess you could refer to it as, that's the name of the ability. When that gets set off, he receives a bunch of different buffs, and has a 49.4% chance at level 20 to activate a cruelty charge alongside all of these additional buffs. And for each cruelty charge that is activated, there's a 25% damage increase added onto that. So like I said, every time that he receives a critical hit or a special attack is used against him, he gains one of these pacifism charges. It also gives him a 10% chance to set off these charges, and with each of those charges that gets set off, there's that 49.4% that the cruelty charges will kick in as well, increasing his attack. So when these charges, when these pacifism charges set off, you will see that he gets a 1 fury charge and 1 physical resist charge for each of those pacifism charges. So I've seen as many as 5 or 6 stack up. So each time that happens, you get 5 additional furies and 5 additional physical resists to help reduce incoming damage, and increasing the attack by 17% for 10 seconds. I don't know if the fury stacks like the cruelty does. It doesn't specifically say it here, so that would be something to keep an eye out as we head into some battles here. But another thing that frustrates a lot of different people is this passive ability that he has to shrug off debuffs at an increased rate. So 50% quicker is how the detrimental effects, things such as armor break and poison and stun especially, will dissipate from him. Now I have a mastery referred to as Limber, which decreases the stuns that I could receive from fighting other enemies. So for me, when Groot gets stunned by really anything, he doesn't really stay stunned for very long, if that makes sense. And then we have the special attacks. So he has his first attack. It's a pretty basic thing. He will proceed to punch the enemy and then extend his arms into the ground and send a bunch of shoots or roots up from the base and strike them a second time. So just 2 hits, but gets the job done, and it has it pierces 50% of the armor. So it this move works well against enemies such as Hulkbuster or Colossus, people who have a high armor setting. The secondary attack helps him to regenerate health. So there's a 12% health increase, or up to 12% health increase over a 6-second period, and that's all based off of the health that is lost. And another thing that's key with this one is it is unblockable, so your opponent can't really do anything to avoid that attack. And then the third attack, well, the second attack, he basically just stomps on the ground, and there's no way to get away from it. The third attack, it's kind of an interesting attack. He teams up with Rocket Raccoon, whether you have the champion or not. So Rocket will come running towards him, get up on top of his shoulder, and then Rocket will pull out his machine gun and proceed to empty the clip into your opponent. And then kind of as a finishing touch, Groot will punch them and knock them down. And as we know, special 3 attacks are always unblockable. So this has a very high bleed damage, 90% of the attack, which is dealt over 3.5 seconds. Now there are other champions in the game, such as Joe Fixit, that I feel deal heavier bleed damage with their the third special attack, but in no means is this something to be trifled with. So that's the basic abilities of Groot, and I mean, you'll see over there he's got high ratings on his pacifism, cleanse, and regeneration. I'm referring to this section right here. And then, as you'll know, Groot doesn't really speak in a language that the characters around him can understand, or more specifically, we can't understand. And so his special attacks are labeled accordingly. I am Groot, and we are Groot. So with that being said, let's have a quick look at his synergies. So he, of course, gets a synergy with Rocket, which allows him to gain, or all champions to gain 9% additional special 3 damage. So that always helps, especially because special 3 attacks do deal heavier damage. Star-Lord, who adds additional armor. Drax, who will add a additional perfect block chance. And Gamora, who again adds even more of an additional perfect block chance. And I have all of these champions in at least one of the different tiers. I believe I have all of them in the 3-star tier. So let's go ahead and jump into a quest, just a basic little quest so we can just kind of see him in action. So I'm currently in the middle of this Terra Genocide Terminus, the last chapter of Terra Genocide. Almost finished with the heroic quest, but we're not going to jump into that. We're going to go ahead and head back to our daily proving grounds, pick up some tier 3 cats. And I'm just going to switch out my team. This is the team that I've been questing with during Alliance War, which I have set to go off here in a couple of hours. So we'll go ahead and pull Groot in first. And then there was Rocket, who came along with him. There was Drax. And then the other ones, I believe I only have in 3 stars. And I haven't really upgraded them as much as I would have liked to. It looks like my 2-star Gamera is actually better than my 3-star Gamera. So we'll throw her in there. And then the last one that I am missing is Star-Lord. So we'll see where he is. It looks like Star-Lord's right there. So we've got a really nice set of synergies there. So in addition to Groot's synergies, we have additional armor, additional perfect block, more perfect block, 25% critical damage, another perfect block, additional armor, and then additional armor, perfect block, and perfect block. So this is a pretty solid team synergy-wise. I mean, you'll see the rating up there is a collective pardon, 11,024. So with that, we're going to go ahead and just jump right into this quest. And I mean, even though we have all of these different champions here present, we're just going to use Groot. So let's go ahead and jump into this and see what we can't get done. So we're going to go ahead and take the higher path here, as it'll give me a little bit more of a challenge. We've even got some champions that have class advantages over Groot on this path, and it doesn't look like that there are any that I have an advantage over. So we've got Scarlet Witch there, and we've got Unstoppable Colossus further up towards the end. So we'll just go ahead and jump in, and looks like we're going to have an ambush right off the bat. So, Old Man Logan, I'm actually just going to let him, because he's at a lower level, and I'm immune to his bleed. I mean, you'll see that he has a bleed 4, but I'm bleed immune. And Old Man Logan doesn't cause bleed a whole lot. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of let him beat up on me for a little bit, so you can see probably at least the first 2 special attacks that Groot has. Or I may even, you know what, I'll just let him hit me until the 3rd special attack is ready, so you can see what happens. So take a look at, and then just keep an eye on these pacifism charges here. So you saw that that was set off by a critical hit, and now we have additional physical resist and fury. And now, just based on the other hits that I've received, there's another 2. There's a 3rd pacifism charge set up there. Now there's a 4th. And now we're going to use our 3rd special attack, which may or may not just wipe him out. Oh, and then here's his heavy attack. So he'll bunch up his fist and just kind of strike the opponent in the face. So that was his level 3 special attack, and you're kind of seeing how these pacifism charges are starting to work and add up. So let's go ahead and move into this fight with Scarlet Witch. Now you'll see that she still has a class advantage over me. But I'm not going to let her pick on me as much, just because she does have a class advantage. So I'm just going to go ahead and go after her. I should be able to get off the first special attack, but we'll just have to see. So that's his standard combo. So that's one of his medium attacks, and that's his second medium attack. And then there's that first special attack there. And then I don't think I'm going to get to the second one, but we'll just go ahead and... You saw all those Fury and Physical Resist, and I think there were 4 Cruelty charges that kicked in there. So he's definitely very... he doesn't start off hitting very hard, but definitely can when those pacifism charges get set off. So we'll just kind of continue down the line here. Looks like we're going to be up against Miles Morales. And, I mean, we've kind of talked about Miles. He's not a fun person to go up against, just based off of those evade charges that he does have. But if you take things slow, fighting him or the duplicated SpiderMan, or even the symbiote SpiderMan when he uses his special attacks, really shouldn't have too much of a problem. So there was one of those, and looks like he did get me. So I'm going to go ahead and use my second special attack, because it'll give him more charges, but then you'll see the regeneration starting to kick in there. So it's not great, but it helps for something. And then we'll go ahead and finish him off with, well, I was going to use my second special attack, but that just wasn't happening. So Groot is very much one of my favorite characters to use. There's people that call me crazy for that, but, you know, it's just something that he's one that I've really kind of grown to enjoy using. He's got a very, very high health stat at 440. I mean, he's up in the... Oh, I think it was 138,000 or in that general area. Or maybe it was just 13. But we'll have a look here in just a moment. So there you can end your combo and then go directly into your third special attack, or your second special attack, because there's nothing that they can do to block it. And then we'll finish this one off and keep moving down the line. So you'll see that I ended up on a higher, with more health at the end of this fight, because of that second special attack. So moving into this fight here, you'll see that I think at the beginning of last fight I had 9,200 health. Got back up to 9,600. And I'm probably going to lose a pretty good amount here to Electro. I mean, there you see the health stats. So 13,453 when he's at full health. I'm going to lose a little bit here to Electro because he does have this ability Static Shock, where there's a certain percentage of your attack that always rebounds and hits you, which I really don't like, but there's not much that I can do about it. So we'll go ahead and power through this as well. So you'll see that I'm just kind of losing large chunks of health here as I go hitting Electro, which is kind of interesting because you'd think with Groot being made of wood, he wouldn't conduct electricity and take that damage. Okay, but there you'll see the Fury and the Physical Resist and the Cruelty pop in. And we were able to finish off that fight in a decent manner. So here we're going up against another Spider-Man, the lesser of my favorite Spider-Mans to fight. And it's suggesting that I use Drax, but I don't want to. We're going to continue using Groot. Because we're still about at the midpoint of the health. The amount of health that I have. You'll see that he evaded that attack. So yeah, with Spider-Man, if you just take things kind of slow, you can be okay. And there we go, that fight has been completed. And we're just about through with this Tier 4 Basic Catalyst quest. So let's move up here to Unstoppable Colossus. Now this is one of those characters that I was talking about who has a very high armor stat. I mean, you'll see here that he has Armor 5, Fury 5, and Bleed immunity, just like Groot does. But with that first special attack, I should be able to puncture a higher percentage of that armor. And with him having a class advantage, this fight will take a little bit longer. And then again, with his unstoppable ability that will trigger every time we have he uses a special attack. So you'll see that his armor is coming through for him now. So it went up from 165 to 138. So there was definitely an increase there. And then we're doing additional damage with our Fury and our Cruelty here. Not quite enough to get all the way through, but it got us pretty close. So he does very well even against champions that have class advantages over him, if you know how to use them correctly. Which is the reason why a lot of people do not like fighting him. So we'll continue on to the final boss of this quest here. And one thing that I am noticing is we haven't really seen in this particular quest somewhere where you can see his abilities kick in, or his cleanse ability, where the detrimental effects will kind of dissipate, if you will. And then that'll finish this one out for us. So what I'll do to kind of show you his abilities, or more specifically his ability to recover quickly from those detrimental effects, is I'm going to go into my Alliance roster, and I know exactly who I want to pit up against. There's a member of the Alliance who has a 5-star Ronin, who's one of my least favorite characters to fight against for a couple of different reasons. But with Groot, I feel like I have a little bit of a better advantage. And I'm really hoping to see, or to show you, how quick we can recover from these detrimental effects. So I'll just use one of my dual credits against him, and then I have a couple in reserve that I'll use for the dual event that's going on. So we'll just show you how Groot fares against this 5-star Ronin. And as you know, 5-star champions are kind of scary to go up against. So you'll see that I got stunned there, but the stun almost immediately went away. Whereas with most other champions, you're sitting there stunned for a good couple of seconds. So this may or may not finish him off. We'll just have to see. And now I typically don't use the third special attack. I like using the second one a lot better. And see, again, I was stunned, but it did not last long at all. There again, stunned and gone almost immediately. So even though this was a 5-star Ronin, we were able to take him out pretty easy. I mean, I took a pretty good beating from those 5 hits that he gave me. But as you'll see, he had little to no stun. The stun was completely ineffective. And this works very well against champions when you're fighting an alliance war against people who have the parry mastery. So that's a brief synopsis on Groot. I'm thinking that this next week we will take a closer look at my next duplicated 4-star, which is War Machine. Not one of my favorites, but he's pulled through me in for me in tight spots before. So, you know, you can't hate on the guy. He does well as far as you let him. So that is it for this week's video. And I've got a couple of things to finish up here with my alliance, a couple of events going on. So I will go ahead and take off and leave you to enjoy the rest of your weekend, the rest of your week, however it may be for you when you take a moment to see this video. So thanks for tuning in, giving me your attention, and I will be right back here next week. So thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.